Well, hey YouTube, it's Elvis Ammo here. Hey, today I need to talk about case trimmers. All right, so I don't have all of the case trimmers there are, and there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat, as you guys know. So I feel like I was kind of forced into doing a case trimming video after prepping the brass in the last few videos. So, and it really needs to be done, right? It just so happens that whenever I was prepping my 300 blackout brass, I measured every one of them and I didn't need to trim any of them. So I pulled out some 556 brass and I'm going to trim these with the Lee deluxe cutter kit, right? This right here is just a spare cutter for when this one is dull or breaks. But with the deluxe cutters, you can use this setup that I have here, where you can just put your drill on this assembly right here and run the cutter that way. And it tells you don't use high RPMs on this drill. It's not really a lot of RPMs anyway, but I do put it in the higher setting. I find that it's a lot less chatter. It works better for me personally, so that's how I do it. You know, you just do it however you want to do it. But Lee has I try to keep all of this stuff as economical as possible so people don't have to spend a ton of money. That's one of the reasons that some of us reload to begin with. So so I have some products from Lee. It's one of the this trimmer right here is the one that I usually use. I like it. It seems to work great. There's a lot of different brands out there that can cost you a lot of money, and with this setup right here, you buy the cutter, and then you buy a die, for instance. That's called a quick trim die. This one just so happens to be 762 by 54R, and you know, this is what it looks like, just so I don't have to take this apart. And so there's a 762 by 54R for the Mosin, and what they have here is just a well fitted die where this case goes in there nice and tight, and then the trimmer goes in the other end and it cuts it. You can use this drill feature like I just showed you, or you can use a hand drilling feature, and it just slides right into the top of the die here like that, and then you just spin it and cut it by hand. I love these features. If for some reason you don't have the access to a drill at all, you can still use by hand, and that actually works really good as well. No muss, no fuss, works great. And as you can see on the end of this cutter, it has a chamfer and deburr attachment on it. You just put it in there like that, and it springs down, and you can see what's actually happening right there. Chamfer and deburr as it trims your brass to where you want it. So if any of you guys are watching and you're not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the like button. So let's move on. So this is what I've got. I probably run about 10 rounds, 10 pieces of brass through here, and I felt comfortable with where it was trimming. Some of this stuff, no matter what kind you get, there's a little bit of wonkiness to set this up, okay? So what I do is many times, like probably many of you, is I usually ignore the instructions, which is probably not the best idea. And so what I do with this die is I will take the die and I just screw it down. I raise the ram until the case bottoms out on the case, and then I'll back it off a little bit, and that's how I do it. And there's a knob right here that's for fine tuning. Supposedly when you turn this clockwise, it will cut more off, and when you turn it counterclockwise, it cuts less off. One of these detents, when you click this left and right, supposed to represent about 1/1000th of an inch, right? You know, sometimes it's not exact, but so what I do is, like I said, and then I'll use this to fine tune. And like where this brass wants to be sized to 1.750, I will, you know, of course you need to size and deprime. The brass stretches, and then we run it on the trimmer. So so what I do is I just put a piece in there, I run this up, and as we're doing these kind of things, we want consistency. So one of the things that I suggest that you do is put the same amount of force on the handle holding downward. I try to use the same amount of force holding it down, and then I just grab my drill and I try my best to just center it by eye to you know, because it's heavier right here, so it's obviously leaning a little bit. It shouldn't affect what's going on in here, but I just kind of hold it straight up, and I'll drill for about that long, and that's what the brass looks like. It's deburred and chamfered, and I don't worry about the mess. Some people do. They come with little trays to catch the stuff. I just sweep it up when I'm done. Alright, let me check my calipers here. I'm at 1.755. I'm just going to go ahead and keep that. It looks good to me. Give it a couple of twists and turns and hold. 1.755. Because I don't want to go too much, and there's different factors that go on, you know, on whether or not this is going to hit exact. You know, 1/1000th of an inch is not much. That's how I do it, and so I'm going to put another one on here, and we'll see what that one gives us. I'll go ahead and measure the before and after on it. This one is 1.760, which is the max. So we're going to go ahead and run this in the trimmer. I'm going to try to hold the same amount of pressure, downward pressure, on the ram, and center this up like I always do, and try to squeeze it for the same amount of time. That sounds about right to me, and that's what it looks like right there. Chamfered, deburred, and trimmed. And boy, didn't cut much. Make sure this is zeroed out. And for some reason I'm just getting 1.758. So let's just run it through and see if it cuts a little bit more. Like I said, there's factors involved. What I done that time is I just pushed down slightly harder on the handle. Maybe that would do the trick. And as you're, 1755 right there. So on video, what happens is consistency sometimes goes out the window, okay? So what you do is you kind of get into a groove, and you're kind of you're just running through this stuff, and it's more consistent that way. I know you guys understand that. I'll go ahead and do another one. We'll measure before 1757. Holding it hard right there. And let's see what we get. I'm going to try to put the same amount of pressure. And I probably didn't hold the trigger as long. You can see the shavings there on my fingers a little bit. That's what it looks like. 1754. So, I mean, that's pretty consistent. You know, so there we go. And we'll go ahead and measure this one. 1.769. 1.764. 1.763, holding it hard. Yep, zeroed out. 1.763, let's see what we can do with it. I'm going to try to put the same amount of pressure, squeeze the trigger for the same amount of time. See if that did it. You can see the shavings on my finger right there. Right there. Chamfered, deburred, and trimmed, guys. Let's see. 1750. Okay, there you go, right? You know, that works. 1763. Let's see, we'll put it in there. Same amount of time, hopefully. 1756. I'm going to see if I can do consistency here. Here we go. Run this up. 1756. See, try it again. Same amount of pressure. Try to put the same amount of time on it. Look at there, 1756. So that's what I'm saying. You know, this is definitely a lot more consistent if you kind of get in a groove and be consistent. Same amount of pressure, same amount of time, same amount of, and you know, all of that over and over again. So that's my favorite solution right there. And since it's morning time, if you guys would go ahead and try out some of this coffee from Minuteman Coffee Company. They got I bought the March to Victory and Don't Tread on Me blend, and there is a link I'll put a link in the description. You can use Elvis Ammo code and get you a little discount on some good coffee. Give that a try and support those good folks over there. All right, so now let's talk about the rest of this mess. You can do the same thing by hand. I don't like that option, but it is great to have that option. The other thing that they offer is they offer one of these stupid things right here. You can just chock the case right up into there like that. Boom, lock it down, put your drill on the end right here, and let's see, oh yeah, here we go. And then you can use this cutter assembly right here, that cutter assembly, and you screw this rod into it, and this rod will bottom out into the bottom of the primer case, all the way down, and that is what sets the adjustment for how much you trim off of this. And you can either do it by hand on the trimmer or with your drill, and then you unchock it, take the case out, put another one in, chock it down, put the rod through by hand or drill, freehanding with the rod going into the case. Now, and you know what? Believe it or not, I've used that method and it works great. you know, it's about as consistent as most of your trimmers are. So there's really no downside, except for I like this feature the best, and it seems to work great as you've seen here. And I'll try to put I'll put a link to it in the description. And so case trimming right there. There you go. What else do I have here to show you? Oh yeah, I don't know, I might have showed you this already, I'm not sure. Anyway, I bought a deluxe cutter assembly. What this one does, it just replaces this one if it dulls or breaks. You know, you want to have extra parts, and all you do is you have the same trimmer and you're just buying a die. That's all. So you just change the die, and these things are very well priced. You'll see when you go on to any website looking for these things. Anyway, I just felt it necessary to go ahead and complete what I was doing with the brass prep by showing you trimming options. All right, so there's some of you guys out there and you know, it's like, oh man, if you just do them all on the Dylan, you know, well, yeah, you can see they have electric assemblies that you can just hook right up to your Dylan press, for instance, and you can swage the pockets and trim and deburr and chamfer, you know, and just running your press. Now I wished I had something like that, but it's a little bit pricey, so I'm just not able to have that right now. But I'd love to have the option to do that with one day. So anyway, put in the comments how you guys like to trim your brass. What things that you know, or you know, just whatever. I don't care if it's $1 million. Just let us know in the comments, because we love looking in the comments at what you guys are doing and the options that are out there. And you guys viewing can scan through the comments, and we can learn together all the other options that are out there. YouTube, I'll see you in the next video.